Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of Nobody Asked Us with Des and Kara, presented by Brooks Running and our super special Paris sponsor, Ketone IQ. Hit the link in the show notes for 30% off your first order and a free six-pack with that first order. We're on a time crunch. We're going to go into ketone later. We'll talk about all shows throughout the series here. But right now, Kara's got places to be. So let's talk track. Let's go.
Des and I were just on a boat together, and then we quickly ran back to our hotels because I have to leave here in 20 minutes to head over to the track. So we're just knocking this out. We're going to talk track. What do you want to go first with, Des? Go.
Men's 1500 semis. Oh my God. Heat one. Heat of death. What'd you think? How'd you feel about it?
I feel like Cole Hawker is no longer a sleeper pick. He looked so good. I know. I mean, like everyone's talking about it, but
yeah.
I'm super excited that NBC has bought into this storyline hardcore. They love this storyline. They love the showdown. Ingebrigtsen running really, I think he showed a little bit of his cards, 61, 56, 55. That's a tough pace to hold. I think in the final, that first 400 will be faster. Josh Kerr never let him have an inch of daylight. He definitely could have been there if it had gone to a kick. And Cole Hawker just
took his sweet time.
Smart.
Right?
He took his time. He was there, and then he was ready to kick. Although again, he was in the back, so I'd love to see him be positioned a tiny bit better. But he could have swung wide because we know what he can do. So
I don't mind what he did. I thought it was great. I thought it was strategic. He was like, I'm clearly in third, and then towards the end, he pushed himself right in the middle of the two. Yes. Like, hey,
he was like, hi, I'm still here, and I'm not
here
tired.
Too. I'm here too. And you could see Ingebrigtsen kind of like looking around. Is anyone still here? Have I done anything? Oh shit, Josh is still there. Oh, and hi, Mr. Cole Hawker. Hello, boys.
And what I thought was interesting was fourth place. So I believe was Coleman was like pressing so hard to get that fourth position. And those top three were like, and you even said it in a text, Des, like in a different race. They were so composed, all of them so easy and effortless. And it's really hard for me to think that those three aren't all going to be fighting for that win.
Men amongst boys.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, all of them. Faces super relaxed, no one breathing hard, no one even going to the arms. The strides were short. I mean, a lot left in the tank for all of them.
And what was missing was showboating that we saw in Budapest, right? It was none of that. It was like as easy as possible. I will not waste energy lifting my arm.
Yep.
We're good. Let's go straight through the mix zone. See you tomorrow.
And that was that's a really good point, because in Budapest, we did see Ingebrigtsen showboat a little over Kurt in that semi. And last night they were just, both of them were like, stoic. Okay, see you on the final. Yeah, they gave nothing.
I will say men amongst boys until Heat 2. What do you think about Heat 2? Any final thoughts on one?
I don't think anyone in that heat other than those top three are going to factor, in my opinion. It just looked like everyone else was fighting to get up to them. That doesn't mean it can't happen, but it just really, to me, was like these three are on a different
separate.
Yeah, right? They were all so effortless. Other people were fighting for position down the home stretch. They were like la-di-da. So for me, it seemed like those are the medal contenders out of that round.
And then
Nuguse. Like, I have been a little bit panicked about Nuguse. He looked very, very off to me in that preliminary round. He sprung to life in the final 100, but that made me very nervous. And we saw two of his training partners not get through, have a second chance and still not get through. So I was very, very nervous for Nuguse, but the goose is back. He looked very good to me, very comfortable. And even like as we were watching the slow-mo of him running in that final 100, he wasn't in full flight. His stride was not as, like his stride is a thing mo big, right? And it wasn't at full flight. So I'm relieved for Nuguse. 3:31 solo effort the whole time. And I think he's back, and everyone should, if they didn't, that's a big mistake to not take notice. But I have to say, Hobbs Kessler, man, he is just running like he is like, I deserve to be here, and I'm not going to be intimidated. And I am massively impressed. And those were the two things that stood out for me in that second heat was Hobbs Kessler. Look, he sailed through that first round, and he looked like a pro, like he is a pro, but he looked like a seasoned pro again. And Nuguse is back. Big, big sigh of relief on my end. I'm like, oh, good. Okay. Yeah, I think it was just nerves. What about your thought?
It's a numbers game too. Like 3 Americans through to the final. That's huge. Like obviously you're taking up a good percentage of the final field. So there's a better chance for Americans. That's great. And them all looking good is a great thing. And I think I heard from someone who was in the mix zone that Nagus was really clear about it. I'm going to the front. I'm going to push this thing from the beginning. And I don't know where the exchange took place, but whether he told Hobbs or Hobbs asked, like, what's your plan? But it was talked about beforehand. And Hobbs was like, cool, I'll just sit back and I'm going to ride the train here. Thanks for the pace job, sir. So they both felt like it was pretty, not easy. It's never easy, but like they knew what they were doing, minimum effort relative to everyone else who's, doing the gamesmanship thing. It was like, I'm doing this, great, let's get through and have something left for the final. So that
You
was
know,
really comforting.
Kessler ran 3:31, I think 5 something at the trials. That was a huge PR for him. 3:31.9 last night. And I thought he looked much more easier last night than he did at the trials. So, I mean, you never know what's going to happen in these finals. I do feel like this is one of those years where, Chariot, I will say, Timothy Chariot did not look great. And I really like him and I love his story. And he didn't look that great. But this is one of those years where the final is so extremely deep. So you never know what's going to happen. But Kessler looked like I don't know why he deserves to be there, you know? And just like you said, it's a numbers game. USA has 3 of the 12 spots. I mean, who knows? But he ran within a half second of his PR, point 0.4 of his PR, and it looked effortless from him.
Yeah, super exciting stuff. And I think the rest of it kind of went to form. There was no real big surprises. Everyone who ran in the heat the night before, fighting for their chance to get it to the final, they looked like they were running on very tired legs.
Yeah,
To
and
be
no, I was
expected.
glad. I was happy to see Nordos get through. He was the
Mhm.
surprise bronze medalist last year. He had to move sort of late in that first heat. I think he was in the first heat. My mind is so jumbled.
Second,
Um,
but it's okay.
oh, second. Okay, he had to move late, but he did get through, and I was glad to see that because I think he's even admitted he's had some just mental blocks this year, and I think if he gets himself through, you never know
Mhm.
with him. I think it just depends on how fast it is up front. If they go out in 57, that's going to be hard for him. If they go out in 59, he could
Mhm.
be there.
Back in the game.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, and the other thing is, like, if they do go out that quick and people who just don't belong
Mm.
latch onto it, like, it could, bronze all of a sudden becomes available for someone who didn't
Yes.
take a risk. But
Yes,
that's
which
it, bronze, you know?
right. That's
Most
it.
likely, like, you're
Yeah.
not gonna win from back there, but you could do
Right.
something that lands you on the podium, capitalizing on someone else's mistake or aggressiveness, rather.
That's true. Do you have a race that you think favors Hawker, Ingebrigtsen, or Kerr? Like, real quick hit on what you think favors each one of them?
Oh gosh. I mean, I think it's going to go out fast and, you're going to have to PR and it's just a fitness thing. Who's the fittest right now?
Yeah.
Hawker has kicked well off of fast pace now.
Yeah.
So I love that. I think that is going to be good for him. Like we said about the heats, like he looks like he belongs with those other two. I wish we could have seen them kind of side by side with same tactics or something, but yeah, I don't know. You give me your take.
I think the faster it is, the more it favors Nagoose and
Use.
Ingebrigtsen. I think Josh Kerr's right in that middle where if it's 328, he's fine. I think it gets down to 327, 326, and all of a sudden it's a little edgy.
It's just new. Like, it's
Right. It's not that he
unknown
can't do it.
territory. We don't know
Yeah.
yet. It's just
I mean, I
unknown.
I think he probably can do that. He's shown he
Right.
can do that in all of his races and events, but he hasn't done it yet, right? So
Right.
and same with Cole Hawker. I think it's 326, 327. Especially for Cole Hawker. I just think if if Cole, if you're listening, you just fucking go, bro. You
Right.
don't look at the clock.
Don't look at
You
the
could
clock.
don't
We
look at
don't
the clock.
know.
You just put yourself in it because I'm
Yeah.
telling you, if you're there with 150 to go, you could win this whole
You
damn
have the
thing.
kick. Right. You
Yeah.
have the kick.
It's super hard to pick a favorite. All of them are so good, and that's what I'm excited about is, like,
Mhm.
not there's not gonna be some Joe Schmo that wins this. We know it's gonna be fast, we know it's gonna be aggressive, and whoever wins it is gonna have to win it with every single step.
Yeah. I 100%. And here's the other thing that will help us move forward here. The 100-meter women's race felt anticlimactic in the stadium. It was like, oh, this is not how it should have turned out. The 100 meters men's race, thrilling. We'll get
Yeah.
into it. But I will say that dramatic photo finish, which is dramatic, also took some air out of the stadium. It was sort of like, and then you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting. And it didn't have that moment, which to me shifts all of like those are the marquee events, right? 100
Yeah.
meters, 100 meters. Oh, now it shifts to the men's 15 being the moment that fills that stadium with the anticipation and gives like whoever crosses the line, the energy in that place is going to go through the roof 100%. There's not going to be a delay.
No.
Even if it is a photo finish, you're just going to be like, who the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
it's
I
still
I will say
anticipation.
from the media side, I have never seen I mean, obviously, watching Grant Fisher win that medal was awesome, but it wasn't the build up to it, right? It was, like, almost a surprise for most people, not necessarily
Mhm.
for us that follow it closely, but that's besides the point. The media is invested in this 1,500, and I think that's really cool, right? Like,
Mhm.
it is being, like, pushed out as one of these marquee events. I mean, it'll never be the 100, they're never gonna turn the lights off and give everyone bracelets, but it's really getting there, and so I'm excited to have a final like that where everyone that I work with can't wait. They've been
Right.
talking about it like the 100, so,
Right.
whew, gonna be good.
Let's go distance, mid distance. I don't know.
Maybe.
Where does that fall?
We're just gonna call it distance on the track.
All
I don't
right.
know,
I
it's
love
not,
it.
but we'll go with it, yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about the lesser event, the 100 meters.
Love the dim lights, love the bracelets. As a woman, felt like, "Dang, why didn't they
Thank
do that for the
you.
women?" I
Thank
just was kinda
you.
like, "This is" you
Oh,
know, also
oh,
as a distance athlete, you're, like, constantly reminded, like, "Hey, guys, the
you're not
real
as big
deal
as
is the
that.
100." Yeah, but I can get past that. I loved it. By the way, they dimmed the lights, everyone got so excited, everyone had their little bracelets on. It was awesome. I just felt like, "Why at this day and age are we only doing this for the men?" But I'm gonna put that
100%. It's a
okay, I'm glad
different
you feel
show.
that
It's a
way.
different
It's
show,
a
but
different
it's a
show.
whole show. I
Yeah, it's a
agree.
whole show. So I'm gonna
We
put
talked
that
about
aside
yeah,
for now
yeah.
because I do wanna go back to that with you at some point. I'm super glad you feel the same way because we haven't even talked about that. But that you could feel the excitement. They held them forever.
Quick question. Was that error, behind the scenes error? I heard the TVs went out in the athlete, like the feed was cut in
Mm.
the athlete area, so I was like, maybe it was that, but was there any talk on
I
NBC
heard that
behind the
there was
scenes?
I heard there was someone running up and down that was, like, potentially dangerous to jump onto the track. I heard a lot of things. I do
Yeah.
not believe the intention they were out there for, like,
It was
10
too long.
minutes.
It was someone
Yes.
was recording it. They were like, "This is 100 meters. It'll be short. I'll take one video." And then at like 2 minutes, they were like, "Okay, this is awkward." Like it's too like
Yes.
it was
It was way
interrupting
longer than that, though. Yeah.
your preparation. Yeah, that was like the middle of it. It might have been like 5 minutes at the end of it
Yeah.
or something near that. But it was like,
I mean, I
this
was
isn't. They built it up
mhm.
and then they lost all the momentum.
Yes.
And you felt bad for the guys who were like, "This
That's
is
what I was
messing up
gonna
their
say.
routine."
I was gonna say, I felt bad for the athletes because you walk out into that stadium with the lights down, everyone's excited, they have the music, they have the lights going throughout the stadium, and then you literally are standing there. They're not letting them do strides, they're not letting them walk around in their lane, they're just standing up in their lane for 5, 6, 7 minutes. I mean, that not cool. I mean, I'm
Just not
not sure
okay.
exactly what happened, but
Right.
that's not acceptable for in my opinion, for the athletes, and we talked about that at NBC because we were there for a long time last night afterwards, and we all agreed, like, that's not cool for the athletes, right? I
Yeah,
mean, can you
it's
imagine going
wrong for
out
the
on a marathon and then
preparation.
just standing
Like,
there?
"Hey, 15 minutes, guys.
Yeah,
Like, Imma sit
but you
down."
can't move.
And
Yeah.
also, they didn't know. It wasn't there like, they're
No.
like, "Hey, 5 minutes." It's like, "Just wait." Like, "Well, how
Yep.
long?"
No.
Because that impacts what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't love that. That bothered
No.
me.
Bad. Bad, bad. But Des, our man Fred Curley,
Back on the
back on the
podium.
podium.
Back on all 3 Americans through. Again, like,
Yeah.
momentum, 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 that's amazing.
Mhm.
And then odds, like, obviously, you have a number of lanes and you put 3 Americans in there,
Yep.
good chance you're getting 1 to 2, you could sweep at that point, but also, like, if you get 1 medal in these games, it's amazing.
It is
So they
amazing.
tilted the odds in their favor.
I can't remember the last time 100 was so close, where with the naked eye, you couldn't tell.
What did you think?
From the booth, I thought the Jamaican won, and we all did. And even Noah Lyle said later that he thought he won. And then when they went, like, they weren't putting the results up, and then it went to photo, and then it was Noah. I was like, "What?" And then it was 5 thousandths of a second. But from where you were sitting, did you have any idea who won? I mean,
This
we
is
are
the
right on the finish line.
this is the first time that I've been on the exact opposite side of the stadium. So obviously the 100-meter finish tickets are very expensive. We
Right,
did not
right.
pay for those. I sat the exact opposite side. Still a great view, and everyone near us was like the Jamaican one.
Yeah.
Like, uh, you know,
Even
but
the Jamaican thought he won.
that lean that Lyles had, his fucking cards came
Yep.
through. The power of the cards.
They worked, man. They worked. I will say
He timed that lean
I'm
to
gonna steal
perfection.
this from Otto because I don't see this stuff. On the replay, he said that I'm so tired. I can't think of the Jamaican's name. This is not out of disrespect. As he's coming through, he was looking to his left and trying to outlean Curly. And he
Mhm.
said he didn't look to his right. And Noah Lyles was coming like a freight train. He's never going to get out as fast as everyone else. He's a 200-meter guy. But the way he can close out that last 10 meters, and he just was coming, and then he leaned. I mean, his feet were back. Their feet were across the line. Curly and Jamaican's feet were one of their feet were already across the line. No one 0 feet across the line, but he just leaned. I mean, that's why they teach you to lean in sprinting.
There's a great NBC video, I believe, of Otto breaking it down, like, basically meter by meter, and he was behind, 95% of that race. Lyles is behind 95% of that race, basically. But you're right, he's a 200-meter guy, and when he turns it on, by the end, he's accelerating way faster than everyone
Yep.
else. And I would say way faster, but I think even the numbers were pretty close, closer than usual. But he's getting, that he's moving forward and everyone else is holding on.
Yeah.
And that was the difference. Thompson of Jamaica
Thank you.
was
Kashane
silver.
Thompson or something. Yeah. I'm
Yes.
just like, I can't believe I can't come up
That's
with that
okay.
name.
Yeah, it was your
I
your
think
job is to focus on distance. So don't put any extra stuff in your brain. Just distance.
I can't put it in. I have no room.
Yeah.
I think we'll see him for a long time. I
Yep.
think he was annoyed he lost.
Oh yeah.
But he was a great showman. We always think about Noah Lyles, and Noah Lyles did his thing where he came out and he was jumping around, but he was standing on that starting line just roaring. Thompson was and owning it too. So it's kind of cool to see, I think what we've seen over the last years when Noah does all that, everyone else just sits there and is like, ugh.
Right.
But
Are you
that
done
guy was
yet?
like, yeah, that guy was like, oh, I can show up too, which was actually kind of fun to see.
Yeah, I think there's more room for personalities and they're going to show up, and the reality is Noah's not dominant.
Right.
So that's going to be interesting, and it's going to have that energy and that excitement for a long time. And Lyles is not a 100-meter guy, really. He's a 200-meter
No.
guy. The
Yeah.
way he ran that,
Oh
watch
yeah.
out world's
200 is
record,
gonna be
world's record
yikes.
watch.
I mean, I think so. I mean, like, listen, I didn't know if Noah was gonna pull that off. He
Yeah.
looked bad in the first round. Bad. And even he said, oh, I underestimated everybody. And even in the semi, he had me
Even
a
in the
little nervous.
semis,
I
he
was
was
like,
second. He didn't win
we
it.
we keep getting views of him in the call room. He wasn't like walking around like a lion like we're used to seeing. He looked kind of nervous. And I was texting
Yeah.
you like, Noah looks nervous.
Right.
Um, but when he came out and did that and like ran down the track, I was like, oh man, he's putting this on. And either he's putting it on and he's just a good showman and he's like, hey, even though he's
I
scared,
have
he's
to
yeah, I
because
have to. Or he's like, I'm putting on my cape. Here we go. This is go time. Put the cape on. And he put the cape on.
I think he had to go lower in the
Mm,
call room, and this was something that I talked about in the section I was in, but, like, he had to go lower in the call room to get higher on the track, right? Like,
yeah.
it's ebbs and flows, ups and downs, and, like, he looked different in the call room because when he came out on the track, he was gonna be at the highest high of his life. So
Right.
that was the cost, and he brought it.
Yeah, he
With
did.
that, final thoughts?
This has just been a hell of a track meet.
Okay. All right, we'll use that to go into give me your Olipop top 1 moment of yesterday.
I mean, I know I should be saying Noah Lyles, but I gotta say, seeing Nagoose back on the train made me happy because I'm like, let's get the best guys in the world at the best time in their lives. And I felt like Nagoose is one of the best guys in the world and wasn't necessarily at the best time. So I'm going with Nagoose just because I'm like glad to see him back. But
I'm
you,
gonna
you pick
take
your own too.
I'm gonna take a big pivot here. We didn't talk about it, but Juliet Whitaker
Oh yes.
making the final. We're not talking about the 800s yet because the final's tonight.
It's tonight, which
So
is unfortunate, but I have to go.
we'll do prelims, finals, everything tomorrow. Thank you, Kara, for your time. We're going to have hopefully a big show tomorrow, but we're going to have a
Yes, we
blast
will.
tonight. Enjoy it.
Yes. Thanks so much.
Thanks,
Bye. Thanks,
everyone.
Des.